Love lives here.
All right, I have a question for my beloved folks here in the room and for those of you there at home as well. Good morning, Mom and Dad, watching from Vegas or joining us from Vegas. Good morning, Earl, joining us from, and Denise, joining us from Pachapa Hill. Smart man, smart lady, staying right there on Pachapa. I got you. So I have a question for you. How many of you, when you were little, when you were young, perhaps in elementary school, pretended to be sick so you didn't have to go to school? Yep. I see that. Yep. And and how many of you pretend to be sick so you don't have to go to work now? All right, there we go. All right. Right. Yeah, and then you remember you're the teacher. And lesson plans, yeah. As a teacher, I remember as a teacher, it was so much harder to be sick. It was so much harder just to stay home because then you got to prep for a sub it's just easier to go through and just die for 6 hours or 8 hours. Than prepping and getting a sub. But yeah, right? So that was your first experience, beloveds, with mind-body connection, because frequently when we pretended to be sick and we got away with it, what happened? We got sick, right? Or, our tummies got upset, and I was like, oh, here we're going to think we're sitting home watching in our day, the game shows on TV, right? Bob Barker and all those, right? We're going to watch all the game shows and possibly even watch the cartoons. And then as the day wore on, maybe your favorite soap opera, depending on how old you were, Days of Our Lives, big fan here, yes. Thanks to Grandma and Grandpa. But yeah, right? So that was the first time we really experienced that mind-body connection where our minds have a direct impact on our body, and we told Mom and Dad we're sick, or we told our caregivers we're sick, and then boom, we weren't feeling well, right? We made ourselves sick, right? So the mind-body connection, it's kind of fun how it works. So Louise Hay, we all know Louise Hay? Anybody not know Louise Hay? Okay, so Louise Hay, right? She was a minister with Centers for Spiritual Living way back in the day when we had a different name, when we were Church of Religious Science, right? And she's got her start in New York. One of the things that Reverend Louise did many years ago is she was able to associate the mind-body connection and our thoughts and our beliefs and how they interacted with our physical bodies. And so she has this whole list in You Can Heal Your Life, her book, You Can Heal Your Life. She has this whole list of ailments and possible, because it's not 100% like this means that, but possible thoughts or beliefs behind the physical ailments, right? And so she's taught this, and she's taught affirmations, which is something that we teach as one of our practices. She taught affirmations, so to counteract the belief, we would then use an affirmation to counteract the belief so that we could then begin healing our bodies, right? Traditional Chinese medicine also has a mind-body connection, right? So, or a belief-body connection. So like your liver. Frequently, if you have liver difficulty, liver is associated with the emotion of anger. Sadness is associated with the lungs, right? And doing body work for so many years myself, it was very clear that when people were having leg issues or foot issues, I would often ask them on the table, I'm like, so where are you feeling stuck toward forward movement? And they'd be like, oh, da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah. Or they would have arm issues, right? I'm like, so how have you been interacting with the world lately? because that's where the arms are, how we interact with the world. And then shoulders. Maybe like, oh, my shoulder's so sore. My shoulder's so sore. I'm like, where are you taking on too much responsibility? Where are you shoulding on yourself? Should, right? S-H-O-U-L-D. Yeah, oh, shoulding, yes. S-H-O-U-L-D, should. And then you add an E-R, you get a shoulder. So your shoulders are your shoulders. Right? Because the shoulders, when you say, bear the weight of the world on my shoulders, put your shoulder into it, put your shoulder, the grind, right? It's all about the shoulders, right? Shoulders are about responsibility. Upper back is about responsibility. And neck, people come in with a stiff neck, can't turn their head. So what are you not wanting to look at? What are you not wanting to see? What belief are you holding so firmly that you can't turn your neck? Right? So again, it's not set in stone that it's all related to that, but frequently I would ask those questions, and then the person on the table would start telling me a little bit and be like, da-da-da-da-da, oh, wow, I have range of motion. I'm like, I helped facilitate it, but you did the work, right? Because you began to associate something that's going on in your mind with something that's going on in your body. Your body, as Nancy Levin says, your body is the barometer of your truth. Your body doesn't lie to you, contrary to what we think. And frequently, we're not even paying attention to our bodies. We have a tendency to live disembodied. We don't even think about our bodies until they're causing aches and pains, and then it's not like appreciating this beautiful body temple. What it is like, I am in pain, I am sore, make it stop, right? So we frequently don't even check in with our body or are even aware of our body until something isn't functioning the way we want it to function, or we're not feeling 100%, we're not feeling great. There's some other books in addition to Louise Hay. The Body Keeps Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, right? There is The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And there's also The Body Remembers by Babette Rothschild, among others. But it's said that our biography becomes our biology. Our biography becomes our biology, because what we're experiencing in life, what we're believing, how we're walking through life, our experiences that we have, right, our thoughts become embodied. Whether we want them to be embodied or not, they become embodied. The body stores all of the race consciousness, all of your individual consciousness. It stores all of it. And unless we're willing to move it through, like we've done before, where we feel something through to completion, it can get trapped in our bodies. And then it can become a mood, right? An emotion or a feeling technically should only stay within the body about 90 seconds. If you think of your dog gets scared, and then what does the dog do afterward? They shake it off, right? Right? What they're doing is they're dispensing the pent-up energy. But what do? We watch the evening news, we scroll Facebook or social media, we hear ads, we get them in our emails, 15, 16 a day asking me for money. I'm like, enough, right? But we get all of this and it's all coming in, and do we take the time to feel it or to even shake it off like Taylor Swift? No. What we do is we just kind of keeps, and we keep internalizing it. And then we wake up and we're feeling cranky, or we're feeling irritated, or we're feeling sore, or we have a headache, because it's just constantly coming in, but we haven't processed it to get it to move through. Following me, Lisa? Yeah. So the opportunity is to get it to move through. right? And we've talked about this multiple times. You have to feel it to reveal it. If you're not willing to feel it and you try to stuff it and suppress it, then what you're doing is you're oppressing yourself. One more time? Yeah. If you're not willing to reveal it and feel it, then you're suppressing it, and then what you're doing is you are oppressing yourself. Self-oppression. And you're also depressing yourself. Oh, depression. This is why mental health is so important for us. Because so much of what we believe, so much of what we think, so much of what we experience in this physical body temple of yumminess, so much of what we experience has a mental root to it. It has a mental cause behind it. It has a belief behind it that is then pressing down because it hasn't had the chance and the opportunity to move. But like I said, it's very frequent that we don't even get in touch with our bodies. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise here. Okay? And we're going to get in touch. Because when we have an embodied awareness, when we take a moment just to feel into our body, to sense into our body, what we do, like I wrote in our email, we recall all the bits and pieces of ourselves from the past and from the future, and we recall it back into the present. And so one of the easiest ways when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling nervous, when you're feeling stressed, when you're watching the news or scrolling Facebook or anything, one of the quickest and easiest ways to come into alignment and come into yourself, to come into the present, is through embodied awareness. So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment. You don't have to do anything. Just simply breathe and allow your breath to carry you into the silence a little bit more. And then just simply notice what is most alive for you in your body right now. What part of your body is asking for your attention? Simply notice what physical sensations you're experiencing. What emotions might be present? What feelings might be present? Again, you don't have to do anything. Just simply notice. Be in touch with your body temple. And I invite you to return your awareness to your breath. Taking 2 or 3 more deep breaths here. 1, 2, and 3. And I invite you to open your eyes and return to this space. How did that feel? Good? Soothing? Yeah? Right? Informative? Yep. It takes us from there to here. And so we come back to ourselves. We come back to our body temple. And it doesn't matter what is happening in our body temple, whether there's pains or aches or butterflies or what have you, by the simple process of what's called embodied awareness, aka mindfulness. But when we call it mindfulness, and sometimes what we want to do is we want to jump to our mind. And it's not about our mind. It's about being fully present in our body. In our body. So, at any point during the day, you saw how long that took, maybe a minute, minute and a half. I know you have the time to do that. Nobody is so busy that you can't take a minute, right? You take longer than that in the bathroom. So use the bathroom time to be fully present if you need to, right? But take the time to bring yourself back throughout the day, returning to this embodied awareness of yourself. And notice how informative, as you said, Michael, that space can be. Right? So this is a wonderful meditation practice that you can extend or shorten, but you can play with it. So this is one of those practices, one of our core practices here at Centers for Spiritual Living is meditation, right? Meditation is the receptive mode of spirit. It is the receptive part of the creative process. It is being open and receptive, is meditation, right? Then we also have the other side, which is the directive side. And what is the key practice that we use for the directive side? Spiritual mind treatment, affirmative prayer, right? Okay. So, how do we use our body for spiritual mind treatment and for prayer? Remember, I told you a couple weeks ago that we are taking our values and our principles and our practices and we're taking them deeper, right? We're doubling down on all of this. So, before we practice that, I want to share with you a couple things from Ernest Holmes. Okay? So, here we are at Centers for Spiritual Living, right? And Ernest says, one of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. That which we cannot prove may or may not be true. But that which we can prove certainly must be and is the truth. He goes on to say, we should work not with anxiety, but expectancy. Not with coercion, but conviction. Not through compulsion, but in a state of recognition and receptivity. We do not have to drive or push, but we must accept and believe. We should then leave everything to the law, expecting a full and complete proof of faith. We shall not be disappointed or chagrined, for the law is our faithful servant. So, we are using the creative process, are we not? Yes, we are using the creative process. So, how do we go about using our bodies as part of the creative process? So let's go back to your nightly news. Michael Beckwith calls the nightly news his prayer list, right? This is what the world is asking for prayer, right? Is the nightly news. This is the prayer list, is what Michael Beckwith calls it. So let's think about the nightly news. When we think about the nightly news or your Facebook feed, what are the feelings that are arising? Anxiety, stress, anger, frustration, disappointment, world's coming to an end, overwhelm, dread, sadness, scared. Okay. I know. We can go on. It's easy. I know. It's easy to get caught in the swirl and down, down, down we go, right? Just want to presence it, because if we don't presence it, we can't do anything about it, right? If we just go, la, 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 all's good, right? Then it's like, the BS bird is sitting there going, don't believe you, right? Because what is it that moves the creative process along? Feeling and belief. Feeling and belief. So, what is it that you would like to feel and experience instead of all of those beautiful words that you just shared a moment ago? Everything is okay. Joy, hope, peace, harmony, love, togetherness, community, unity. What's that? I have the answer. Oneness, wholeness. Okay. So, all those words you just used, right? Close your eyes. We put a lot of words out here now. Choose one or choose one phrase. Choose one of those words. Now, find that word in your body, because that word is in your body. That feeling is already present within you. So locate that word, and we can think of that word as a capital W word, because we speak our word when we do spiritual mind treatment. So that word is in your body. Where is it located? Locate it now. What does that feel like in that body part? Whatever word you chose, what is the feeling? Is it warm? Is it tingly? Is it alive? What does it feel like? How big is that word in your body? It may be tiny at first, but with each breath, see if you can expand that word to a larger area of your body. And with the next breath, see if you can expand it even further. And further. See if you can now expand it beyond your body temple and into the room. Maybe it's just a few inches off your body temple. Maybe it's a little bit further. See how far you can expand that out from this place of origin within your body. Maintaining that sense of feeling. And while maintaining that sense of feeling and that sense of expansion, I invite you once again to breathe. 1, 2, 3. Maintaining that connection, I invite you to open your eyes. And what is the feeling at the moment? Calm, peace, relief, balance. So, now that you know the feeling of what it is you wish to experience, now you may go to your spiritual mind treatment. You may go to your affirmative prayer, and you may do your 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment, or your 5 steps of affirmative prayer of recognition, recognizing that spirit is all that quality that you just felt, unifying with it that I am that quality as well, what it is that I just felt. And then I realize it, I make it real into the world by speaking my word as to what the world looks like, what the world feels like, what life feels like as I live and breathe and move and have my being as this word. Then I give thanks for the embodiment of the word. And I release it into the law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is so, knowing that it is absolutely perfect, and that it already is, because I have confidently, faithfully, and with much feeling and fire spoken my word into the creative medium. And the creative medium, as Ernest said, is always paying attention, is always saying yes. Is the servant, it must therefore be manifest. So we're taking meditation deeper. We're taking meditation into our body. We're taking spiritual mind treatment into our body. And then we are using the body temple to magnify, to amplify that which we wish to experience in the world. So as we're moving through the next few weeks, months, as we are moving through the remainder of the year, I invite you to take these two practices and the embodiment of these two practices with you. Remember them daily. Practice them daily. Yes? Feels different, doesn't it? Feels stronger, doesn't it? It's because you have embodied that which you wish to experience. You already are it. All you're asking for is more of it. So let's go to tables. There are 3 questions for you at the tables today. There are 3 questions at the tables today. What's been pulling you off your center lately? What do you do to reconnect with you? And what is something that you can do to increase your spiritual practice, to double down on your spiritual practice? If your spiritual practice has been a little thin lately, double down on it anyway, right? There's no place where it's too small or too great. We can always increase the spiritual practice. So those are your 3 questions for today. I invite you to go to table and enjoy. And I'll call you back in a few. So once again, it starts within, and then we move without, and we continue the expansion. As we continue to expand further, we can then continue, as we shine our own light, then the light catches, right? As we shine our own love, the love catches. As we shine our own peace, the peace catches. The more that we embody it, the more that we live from that place of knowing, the more that we live from that place of centeredness and alignment, the greater the world around us comes into alignment, because it has to. It absolutely has to. And so we shine by being the example out into the world. Shine by being the example in line at the grocery store. Shine by being the example in all of the communities and places that we participate at school, for those of you that are teachers, right? Being the presence of love, your littles experience that. They experience that, and that might be the only place where they experience it all day, right? So how we show up, how we shine out, how we ground ourselves, how we live from the inside out, we then see a changed world. It begins within, So there was something that online that was shared on the morning table, the Zoom table, that I really thought was great about spiritual practice. So, Earl, can I use your name? Now that I'm using your name anyway? I'm going to use your name, Earl. Letting you know. I'm calling you out. Earl suggested, it was great. He said, I stuff my face for 30 minutes when I eat. So how about stuffing my soul at the same time? Or how about making it equivalent? I'm feeding my face, so let me feed my soul for as long as I'm feeding my face. And so equating feeding yourself physically with feeding yourself spiritually as well. And so we were talking about that, and it's really fun because the way he said is, if I eat, I manifest it. So maybe if I pray, I'll manifest it, right? Right? I like it. You feed your soul, you manifest it. You feed your body, you manifest it, right? I love that. Good one, Earl. Everybody in the room agrees. They like that one, right? So this week, I invite you to feed your soul. Take time to practice the embodied awareness exercise that I gave you earlier. Practice praying when you're doing your spiritual mind treatment. Get into the feeling of it first. And then pray with that feeling. Pray from that feeling because you're praying from a place of knowing. As Ernest Holmes said, we only know what we can prove. When we can prove it, we know that we know that we know. We absolutely know that it's the truth. What we can't prove, we may or may not be true, but what we can prove, we know is true for sure. So with that certainty, pray from that place. Got it? All right. So let's come together in consciousness. Here and now, I recognize there is just one life, one presence, one infinite eternal that is in all, through all, as all. It is the infinite creator, beyond time and space, yet inhabiting time and space, but not confined by its creation. It is the all in all, through all, as all. And the universe is the embodiment of this one life, this one spirit, this one consciousness that is the ground of all being. Call it God, call it spirit. It simply is all that there is. And recognizing that it is all that there is, I recognize that I am the embodiment of this one life. I am a divine emanation and impartation of this one life. That the who of who I am is this one life made manifest, in form, incarnate. And as this is true of me, this is true of everyone gathered here this day, all of life and all of creation, for we are simply one with the one. The divine being, the divine one, the divine spirit, divine love, peace, joy, harmony, expressing itself fully, completely, and totally in, through, and as each one. And so I speak my word for this community here this day, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living. Knowing that we are the embodiment of this one life, so therefore knowing that we are one with the one, that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, that we have the capability and the creativity to use the creative law, the creative process, to feel and embody and express the totality of spirit through our word, through our deed, through our action, through our thought. We are that, and we are it. And so it moves forth from within us out into a greater yet to be, a greater expansion and knowing of itself. And how grateful I am to feel this fully, totally, and to speak this word from this place of deep knowing, of deep affirmation, of perfect alignment. So I simply give thanks for the unfoldment, for the perfection, and for the beauty. And I release this word now, knowing it is done, knowing it is so, I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. So I invite everybody to stand. And let's say this affirmation together. I'm aware of what's most alive in my body right now. Now say it like you really mean it. I'm aware of what's most alive in my body right now. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here.